So all conference media, so they are in their conference rooms now. So now the floor is Manuel.
Okay. အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါရှင်။ခုလိုတက်ရောက်ကြတဲ့မီဒီယာများအားလုံးကိုကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့အထူးကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်။ကျွန်မကတော့ခင်းတို့ရင်မြန်မာ Telenor မြန်မာရဲ့ Corporate Communication ဌာနဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဒီနေ့ပြုလုပ်တဲ့အစီအစဉ်ကတော့ပေါ့နော် Telenor ကနေပြီးတော့ဒီ COVID-19 အလွန်မှာဒီဖြစ်လာနိုင်တဲ့အကြောင်းအရာ၅ခုကိုမှန်းဆထားပြီးတော့ပြောကြားသွားမှာဖြစ်ပြီးတော့ဒီယောဂဖြစ်ပွားတဲ့နောက်မှာပေါ့နော်ဒီကဏ္ဍမျိုးစုံမှာ digital နဲ့လှုပ်ဆောင်မှုတွေပုံမှန်တိုးတက်လာတဲ့အကြောင်းကိုရှင်းပြသွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အဲ့တော့အစီအစဉ်လေးကိုလည်းပြောပြချင်ပါတယ်။အစီအစဉ်အရာကတော့ဒီပထမဆုံးအစီအစဉ်ကတော့ Telenor မြန်မာ CEO Mr. John Oman ကနေပြီးတော့ဖွင့်မှာစကားပြောကြားသွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဒုတိယအစီအစဉ်ကတော့ Telenor Group Research ကနေပြီးတော့ Dr. Com Andreas Cornerer ကနေပြီးတော့COVID-19 အလုံးမှာဖြစ်လာနိုင်မယ့်အကြောင်းအရာ၃ခုကိုပြောကြားတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အစီအစဉ်၃မှာတော့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံအတွက်ပေါ့နော်ဒီ comment ထားတဲ့နောက်ထပ်အကြောင်းအရာ2ခုကိုဒီဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့CEO ကျွန်တော်ရဲ့ CEO ကနေပြီးတော့ဆက်လက်ရှင်းပြသွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။နောက်ဆုံးကဏ္ဍအနေနဲ့ကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့အမေးဖြေမီဒီယာတွေအတွက်ကိုပေါ့နော်အမေးဖြေကဏ္ဍလေးလုပ်ထားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အဲ့တော့အခုသတ်မှတ်ထားတဲ့အချိန်လေးရှိအားကြောင့်မို့ပေါ့နော်တင်ဆက်တဲ့သူတွေကိုဒီ presentation note ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ direct ဘာသာမပြန်တော့ဘဲနဲ့ media တွေအကုန်လုံးကိုကြိုပို့ထားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီကြားထဲမှာရှိတဲ့ translation တချို့ကိုတော့ပြန်ပို့ပါပေါ့နော်အားလုံးပို့ထားမှာဖြစ်ပြီးတော့ဒီCEO ကျွန်တော်တို့ CEO ပေါ့နော်နဲ့ကောင်းတော့ Dr. ကောင်းတို့ပြောနေတဲ့အမေးဖြေကဏ္ဍမှာတော့ကျွန်မ direct ဘာသာပြန်ပေးမှာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်Okay, so may I now invite our CEO, Mr. John Oman, to do an introduction, please.
Thank you, Nguyen. And hello, everybody. Good morning to all the media, and welcome to this press conference from Telenor Myanmar. I'm here. My name is John Oman. I'm the CEO of Telenor Myanmar, and I'm here then with Gorm Andreas Grønnevet from Telenor Research. And the topic of the day are really trends that arise post the COVID-19 pandemic that has crossed the globe, actually. And it has accelerated global social economic change, both in the world, but also, of course, in Myanmar. And this has all taught us lessons and given us insights into how the changes are impacting societies and life at large, and that is really what we want to talk about here today. We have predicted 5 trends that we believe are important and that will stay on also after the pandemic has come under control and vaccination has been provided and life go back to more what we call a new normal. And that is really what we would like to talk about and to present to you here today. So first, I would like to then invite Gorm to talk about the first 3 trends that we see. Gorm.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to join you from Norway. So my name is Gorm Grønnevet, and I'm heading a team of economists and social scientists in Telenor Research. So next slide, please. So Telenor Research is the engine of future development. And in Telenor Research, we are a small group of 40 scientists working on mobile technology, on analytics and AI, and on customer insight. And as part of that work, we also try to say something about what we think is going to happen in the next year. So we have published trends, tech trends, over the last 4 years. And the post-pandemic trends that we are going to talk about today is part of this work. Next slide, please. So from Telenor Research, we have predicted 3 trends happening after the pandemic. So the first one is called Crowd Movement to the Rescue. This is about how mobility data can be used to fight disease. The second is called Recruitment plus AI equals Match. And this is about how analytics and AI can help the labor market become more efficient. And the last trend is called New City Infrastructure to facilitate a new way of work. And this is about flexible working practices and how that can help cities become better. Next slide, please. So to be clear, using crowds and crowd movements to understand how disease spread is not new. On the right-hand side, you can see a map. It was published by John Snow in 1849, and it shows Broad Street in London, and the red dot is a water pump used by the inhabitants in the street. And he used this map to show that cholera was more frequent around that pump than on other streets. And he used this to say that cholera was spread by water. But the things have moved on quite a lot since 1849. So next slide, please. So today we can use mobility data, anonymous data from telecom operators to understand how people move around in the country. And Telenor Research has pioneered work on using that kind of data in or together with epidemiological models. So epidemiological models are models of how disease spread. And these models are typically not taking into account how people move around in the country. So this work is really pioneering. And it started out in 2013. We worked with Telenor Pakistan to understand how dengue fever spreads in Pakistan. And we were able to show that, or together with the Harvard School of Public Health, we were able to show that the predictions were more accurate when we included mobility data from Telenor Pakistan. Since then, we have also worked with Grameenphone in Bangladesh on the spread of malaria, and with DTAC in Thailand on the spread of both dengue fever and malaria. And the map you can see on the left-hand side here is obviously Thailand and showing movements within Thailand. Next slide, please. So in January this year, the virus spread around the world. And the work we had done in Pakistan, in Thailand, and in Bangladesh put us in a good place to understand what we could do with data in Norway as well. So we took the lesson home, and early January, my colleague Kent Enger Monsen called up Telenor Norway and asked them whether they could provide him with daily data on movements, crowd movements within Norway. And they said, yes, we can do that. And then he called up the public health authorities in Norway and asked them, can you utilize this kind of data in your epidemiological models? And at first they said no, but they were also willing to develop such a model. So after an intense month of work, so that was February, they put in place a working model using mobility data and the current statistics about COVID-19. And by early March, when we had the first non-imported contagion in Norway, the model was working. And on the pictures to the left, you can see in Norway on March 10, that was before the government ordered the lockdown. And as you can see, it's quite white, showing normal movements around in Norway. And then on the 11th of March, the government in Norway decided to shut down firms, shops, schools, and asking everyone in Norway to stay at home. And March 15th, on the right-hand side here, you can see that it's really blue, and blue on this map indicates that there is no movement in Norway. So the data that we provided the public health authorities enabled them to better understand how disease spread, but it also helps us understand how government policies work. And as you can see, people were loyal to the government in this case. Next slide, please. So using data from telecom operators has some benefits. It is anonymous, it's immediately available, and it is independent of phones and apps. And obviously, when you are dealing with a contagious disease, it is important to be able to act rapidly and with the best possible information. So I think crowd movements or mobility data from telecom operators enable us to do that. So we have helped the COVID-19 response in Norway. And as I mentioned, we have also helped governments in other countries using data to control disease. For the future, I think this can also help inform public policy, for example, in transport and tourism. Next slide, please. The second trend is recruitment plus AI equals match. And recruitment, at least in Norway, is quite slow, and it's not always that you get to interview all the interesting candidates. So in Telenor Research, we have done quite a lot of work on AI and also applying AI as a research project so far. So no commercial applications, but as a research project on our own workforce. And our understanding of this, of labor market and of analytics in this field is that it can really help us become more efficient. And you can think of this a little bit like Tinder, the dating app. So we all have our phones in the pocket. And if we were able to match with potential firms or potential new employers, it could really help us in finding a job in a quicker way. And for the firms, the advantage would be that it would be easier to reach out to all interested employees. And this is important in many parts of the world where the COVID-19 is going to give us a really high level of unemployment. Next slide, please. So we believe that introducing analytics and AI into the labor market can make it more efficient. And it has the benefit, by using the mobile phone, it has the benefit of reaching a lot more people. It will be potentially faster to employ people, and the people you employ will be a better match with the firm. And obviously that can lower unemployment in a more efficient way than currently is the case. and also help restructuring the economy. And in the future, maybe this will even make us look on employment in a different way. At least in Norway, we tend to keep our jobs for quite a long time. Next prediction, yeah, thank you. The last prediction is called New City Infrastructure to Facilitate a New Way of Work. And as you may have heard, our group CEO, Sigve Brekke, has been very pleased with the way that Telenor worked during the lockdowns in the different countries where we are present. And he has said that we should look on more flexible ways of work. Next slide, please. So there is a lot of optimism in Norway and other places in the world on working from home. And for everyone, it has the obvious advantage of not having to commute to work, which is in many cities very long. So a commute can be, well, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and all of this time is taken out of your spare time. So not having to commute is an obvious advantage. But even in Norway, we see that working from home also have some serious disadvantages, especially when it comes to lack of space and perhaps not having a dedicated workspace or a room to use as an office. But also infrastructure like 4G, Wi-Fi can also be a problem. And on the picture to the right here, you can see YY, and she's actually working together with a friend out of the hostel where she lives. She's an open mind candidate for Telenor. So there is a balancing act when it comes to work from home. So what can we do? Next slide, please. I think flexible working should be understood as not working only from home and perhaps not working only from office, but also trying out different places to work from. So currently we can find cafes and malls where it's possible to work, where infrastructure is better, but you can also have shared workspaces. And obviously also flexible work can mean that you can join other countries like I do today from Norway to Myanmar and work across boundary the normal borders. And if we are able to find flexible workspaces close to where we live, we don't have to commute anymore. And this can actually change the way cities work. And perhaps government should even look into taking some of the funds used for public transport and put them into arranging for shared workspaces where people live. Next slide, please. So flexible work practices and flexible workspaces can help reimagine cities. And it has the key benefit for the employees that there is no commute, and moving out of home into flexible workspaces allows you for social interactions and escaping the constraints of the place where you live. And it can also give you better Wi-Fi and 4G. So I think moving out of home, but closer to where you live is a real advantage. And today we can meet in cafes or malls or shared workspaces. And then for the future, I think having less congestion during rush hours, having people working closer to home could actually provide a revival for cities. And cities are really important for the way our economies work. So making them work both for firms and for the people who live there is really important. Next slide, please. So COVID-19 is obviously a very serious disease, a deadly disease for many people, and it's not to be taken lightly. But the experiences that we have gone through over the last couple of months, in Norway at least, has also shown us that it can accelerate some advances in societies. So it has helped us understand that we can use data in order to fight disease. It has shown us that unemployment can be a problem, but also that analytics can help us finding a better match. And it has shown us that we can work efficiently from home, but perhaps we should, in the long term, look for flexible workspaces closer to home. And in that way, avoiding the disadvantages like commute, but also finding social interactions and infrastructure in a good way. So that concludes my presentation. Jon?
Yeah, thank you, Gorm. It's very interesting, and the theme, of course, is lying on the technology and how digitalization is enabling new trends and use of information in a different manner. Before I move on, just two maybe quick questions or reflections, particular to the last one, which also in a way hit very fast in Myanmar. We ordered a full work from home situation with all our employees when this occurred. And the government, of course, also reacted quite firmly with closing of borders and etc. But when it comes to work from home, you're actually presenting it as partly work from home and partly flexible use of different spaces. And in total, I understand you believe that this will be more beneficial both for the employee and for the employers than compared to the traditional office building.
Yes, I think for the employees, not having to commute will actually be a great advantage. But obviously, we need to keep in touch. And I think at least I have when we were in the lockdown, I really missed my colleagues and the social interactions at work. So I think flexible work should be trying to find the balance between working away from home, working in office, and working from home.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting and definitely a trend that I think will hit across the world, and we see big internet companies have already expressed very sort of clear commitments to it. If we look at AI and the use of data technology and artificial intelligence, it's probably fair to say that Myanmar is a little bit behind other countries in the use of this technology and this information. Sort of, how do you think it will become a trend visible in Myanmar? I'm sorry, Nguyen, yeah. Did you want to translate first, maybe, Nguyen?
It's okay. So I will go ahead translating the first questions that you did. So ဘောနော်ကျမတို့ရဲ့ဒီကျွန်တော်တို့မြန်မာ CEO Mr. John ကနေပြီးတော့Gone ကိုခုနမေးလိုက်တဲ့မိကုံးလေးကိုဘာသာပြန်မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့သူဒီ COVID-19 အခြေအနေမှာပေါ့နော် company တော်တော်များများ organization တော်တော်များများလည်းဒီ work from home ဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုလည်းpractice လုပ်လာကြတယ်ပေါ့နော်အလေးထားသုံးလောက်လာတဲ့အခါကျတော့ဒီအရင်တော့သွားနေကြဒီရုံးကနေပြီးအလုပ်လုပ်တဲ့ဟာမျိုးတွေကဖြည်းဖြည်းနဲ့နေရတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့ခါကျတော့ဒီမြန်မာပြည်မှာရောပေါ့နော်ဒီ work from home ကဘယ်လိုမျိုးဖြစ်မလဲပြီးတော့ work from home ကဘာဖြစ်လို့ပေါ့နော်ပို့ပြီးတော့ဒီ office building ဆိုတဲ့ဒီရုံးတွေထက်ဆိုင်ပို့ပြီးတော့popular ဖြစ်လာလဲပို့ပြီးတော့ခေတ်စားလာလဲပေါ့နော်ဆိုတဲ့မျိုးလေးကိုပေးထားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့ Mr. Dr. Gone ဘက်ကနေပြန်ဖြေထားတာအဲ့တော့ဒီကတော့ပေါ့နော်သူဒီလိုမျိုးလုပ်နေတဲ့အချိန်မှာလဲပေါ့နော်ဒီအခုလိုမျိုးဖြစ်တဲ့အချိန်တွေမှာပေါ့နော်သူ့အနေနဲ့လည်းအရင်တော့လုပ်ခဲ့ရတဲ့အနေထားလေးကိုသူသိရပါတယ်ဘာဖြစ်လို့ဆိုတော့ရုံကလူရင်းနဲ့လည်းသူတွဲလုပ်ရတယ်ပေါ့နော်အခုချိန်ကျတော့ဒါတီးတန့်လေးတို့သဘောမျိုးလေးဖြစ်သွားတာပေါ့နော်အဓိကကတော့ data ရဲ့ကောင်းတဲ့အချက်တချို့ရှိသလိုတချို့ဟာမှာလည်း balance လုပ်ရမယ့်ဟာမျိုးလေးလည်းရှိရပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့အရင်ကလိုမျိုးအပြင်ကိုတကူကသွားစရာမလိုတော့တဲ့ဟာတော့ဒါအတားချက်တစ်ခုနေနဲ့တော့ဖြစ်မှာပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့လည်းအခက်အခဲတွေတော့ရှိတယ်ပေါ့နော်အလုပ်လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာပေါ့ဘာလို့လဲသိကြမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီအိမ်မှာလုပ်တဲ့အခါကျရင်မိသားစုရှိတဲ့သူတွေဆိုလို့ဆိုရင်လည်းဒါမျိုးဒီမိသားစုအနေနဲ့တူတူနေရတဲ့အခါကျတော့သူတို့နဲ့တူတူရှိနေတော့တခါကြအလုပ်လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာအဆင်မပြေရမျိုးလေးလည်းရှိနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ကလေးရှိနေမယ်ဆိုတော့ကလေးအတွက်ကိုချိန်ပေးရမျိုးလည်းရှိတယ်ပေါ့အဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့အဲ့လိုမျိုးဒီ work from home နဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ဒါကို balance ဆိုတာပေါ့နော်ဒီတစ်ခါလေးကြားလို့ဆိုရင်လည်းဒီရုံးမှာလုပ်တစ်ခါလေးမှာလည်းအိမ်တော့မဟုတ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီအိမ်နဲ့နီးစပ်တဲ့နေရာမျိုးတွေမှာလုပ်တာဒီလိုမျိုးလုပ်နိုင်မယ်ဆိုရင်တော့အကောင်းဆုံးဖြစ်မယ်လို့ပြောတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ရှင်
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So just one other reflection before we move on. It was a bit about the AI and the use of data technology and analytics, and perhaps fair to say that Myanmar is a little bit behind other countries in that trend. But how do you think that trend will evolve in Myanmar? Good.
So first of all, let me just say and be clear that AI in the useful labor market is in its early stages, but the technology is there. We can see that from similar problems like dating markets, trying to match people. But there are some apps working along these lines, and obviously they are available to Myanmar as well as the rest of the world through the smartphone and I believe that Myanmar has a fairly high proportion of smartphones in the country. But and then given I think this is going to be a little bit slower than the two other trends, because unemployment is something that we are going to look into when the COVID-19 crisis is really over.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Nguyen, you want to translate?
Yeah. So အခုကပေါ့နော် AI technology ပေါ့နော် artificial intelligence ဆိုခေါ်ရတဲ့ဒီအသိဉာဏ်တုနည်းပညာပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒါကောမြန်မာပြည်မှာဘယ်လိုမျိုးရှိမလဲပေါ့နော်ဒီဒါကလည်း popular ဖြစ်မဲ့ trend တစ်ခုအနေနဲ့ဖြစ်လာမလားပေါ့နော်ဆိုပြီးတော့မေးရဖြစ်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့အသိဉာဏ်တုနည်းပညာကိုပေါ့နော်အသုံးပြုပြီးတော့ဒီဝန်ထမ်းတွေရှာဖွေဖို့ဆိုတဲ့ဟာကတော့ဒီနိုင်ငံမှာကျွန်တော်တို့အနေနဲ့တော့စောနေသေးတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီအသိဉာဏ်တုကိုအသုံးပြုပြီး application တွေရောရှိနေတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လည်းပေါ့နော်တချို့ကကြတော့အသုံးဝင်မဝင်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာမျိုးကြတော့ဒီလူအများနေပြီးဒီနည်းပညာကိုအသုံးပြုပြီးတော့သိနေမှာပဲသိမယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒီကမ္ဘာတဝန်းမှာဆိုရင်တော့ဒီအလုံးလက်မဲ့နှုံးနေတာလည်းတချို့နေရာတွေမှာလည်းမြင့်နေတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့ဒီနည်းပညာတက်တင်နေပေါ့နော်ဒီအလုပ်ဒီကွက်တွေမှာပေါ့နော်လေ့လာပြီးတော့ဆန်းလုပ်ကြည့်မယ်ဆိုလို့ဆိုရင်တော့အောင်းပါမယ်လို့ရှင်းပြထားရဖြစ်ပါတယ် Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So then I think thank you, Gorm. It's very interesting, and these are three in a way global trends that will have impact, and that has really derived out of or accelerated out of the COVID pandemic. So let me just share two more trends that we believe from Telenor Myanmar are important in Myanmar that also has been accelerated out of the COVID-19 situation. So first is what we call government goes digital. Now, as you know, we are in the digital age, and almost anything can be provided digitally of services. And in many ways, Telenor Myanmar is very fascinating from a technology perspective, because you have almost, or the country has almost leapfrogged and gone from 2G to 4G in a very fast manner and enabled digitization very fast and very forcefully. So the 4G network deployed across the country of all the operators is a very strong 4G platform, even if you compare to other countries in the region that has had the infrastructure in place much longer than Myanmar has. So it puts Telenor Myanmar in a very strong position for the acceleration that we do see. And COVID-19 has brought new beginnings and new normal life to all of us at a very rapid pace. And we see that technology in daily life has become a very important platform, both for governments, for consumers, and for business, of course. As for governments, I think it's vital in a situation that COVID-19 provided to be able to provide accurate and useful and up-to-date information to a large amount of people very efficiently, very fast. And it should be reliable, of course, so that information provided, instructions given are accurate and reliable from government to the population. And I think what we also saw in Myanmar is when the first cases of COVID-19 was reported, even senior government officials took to social media in order to reach the population and the people of Myanmar in a more efficient manner than perhaps had been done earlier. So it really was to address the public through video conferencing, mobilize actions from government officials, health officials, organizations, and volunteers out to the people, fast, reliable, and accurate. And the digital platform enables that reach in a very efficient manner. So the government starts using that digital platform much more forcefully than earlier done. And that drives changes that are accelerating on how government actually uses digital platforms in order to reach. And this can, of course, just continue into more and more sectors of the government that are not really linked to COVID or the pandemic as such, but it has really accelerated out of the need that the COVID-19 provided for government to reach and inform fast and efficiently. I think further, the digitization also drives different type of partnerships, and as we see the importance of the digital platform coming more and more into our lives and the society at large, one example is within cybersecurity. This is high on the agenda in any country, I think, and it certainly is so for Myanmar. And it is cybersecurity for the country at large, and in Myanmar, the government has entered into partnerships with the cybersecurity center that has signed up with a South Korean company that are very knowledgeable about how to manage cybersecurity at a country level. And I think the containing the spread of the virus as such is reliant on a resilient infrastructure and a professional management of cybersecurity, since we are using information and data provided over the digital platform to fight the COVID and the consequences of the disease. Also for Telenor as a business, cybersecurity is instrumental, and it's an integral part of how we build our infrastructure, so that we secure that users of our infrastructures and our platform can have a safe and reliable infrastructure to communicate on and to consume digital services on. So it is very important for us. So in essence, why government goes digital, it's really around providing information, educating, and to provide a secure and reliable platform to enable this information flow to really happen on at a fast, accurate, and reliable way. So that is one trend that I think has really accelerated also in Myanmar out of the COVID situation. The other trend that I would like to talk a little bit about is what we call consumption goes to home. So what happened in Myanmar, as well as in all other countries that really imposed a lockdown, is that people needs services to be brought to home, and they also need to consume services at home in a different way and in a different manner than they did before the COVID. So it really changed how online shopping, social media use, teleconferencing, streaming, video content usage across the border. So an example, in Telenor, when everybody worked from home, everything was done on video and conferences, etc., etc. And it changed from one day to another. And of course, we have to provide then that service home to where people live. It also shows how consumers are then consuming other social activities, or a need for brought food deliveries, other services provided to their homes. So it really boosted the online purchasing way of behavior, and it really shows that e-commerce is going to be an integral part of life also in Myanmar. And I think that in Myanmar, the government's COVID-19 economic relief plan highlighted mobile financial payments and e-commerce and social commerce systems as a really mean to bridge the gap and really help enabling the society to come over the consequence of the pandemic and drive economic growth also in the future. So I think this is an area where we really see that we can also help providing a platform, or we are at least part of that ecosystem that provides that platform with a cashless society, with much stronger e-commerce platforms, where the consumption goes home is able to be managed in a secure and reliable way. And at Telenor Myanmar, we are doing a lot of efforts in order to prepare our infrastructure to be part of this development that also the government is really fronting in their economic relief plan. So consumption goes to home will change many ways of how we act and operate and conduct our lives, whether that is from the consumer side or from the business side. So I think those are 5 trends that we see. Some are highly global, and then some are more what we see how these global trends also actually drives changes that are here to stay and that will continue to drive change in the society in Myanmar as we move forward. As an example, we are providing this press conference on a digital platform, which is also a direct consequence of the COVID-19 situation. So it's a very small example of things that change. We are very pleased to be part of the journey in fighting against the outbreak and to provide technology that has been very important for societies to really handle the COVID situation in a fast and forceful way. Communication platforms have been instrumental across the world to handle the situation. So we are really here in the continuation, and we will continue to serve society in Myanmar by connecting people to what matters most.